Honourable members, standing under number 225, subsection 2, paragraph B, requires Speaker to report the House any petition other than those presented by a member. Further, Article 119 of the Constitution provides for the right of any person to petition Parliament to consider any matter within its authority, including petitioning the House to enact, amend, or repeal any legislation. In this regard, honourable members, I wish to report the House that my office has received a petition signed by Mr. Jonah Kachuki of ID number 24631-866. The petitioner claims that whereas Articles 142 and 180 of the Constitution fixes the term of office for the President and county governors, respectively, to 2 terms, the provisions do not apply to the following other elective offices. 1, the Deputy President. 2, the Speaker of the National Assembly. 3, the Speaker of the Senate. 4, Members of Parliament. 5, Deputy Governors. 6, Members of County Assemblies. The petitioner is concerned that the above exemptions are discriminatory. Now, members, the petitioner is therefore praying that the National Assembly amends Articles 102, 148, and 180, and other related provisions so as to limit the term of office for the above listed elective positions to a maximum of 2 terms, as is the case for the President and county governors. Having determined that the matters raised by the petitioner are well within the authority of the House, I order that the pursuant to provision of Standing Order 227-1, the petition be committed to the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs, and the committee to consider the petition and report its findings to the House and the petitioner in accordance with Standing Order 227, subsection 2. Yeah, honour members. Members will be. Two minutes. Yeah, I see interventions from Honourable Wamalu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is true the Constitution allows anyone to petition this House. And looking at that petition, Mr. Speaker, I have no doubt that this House has what it takes to look at it favorably. And because it also requires public participation, it has these unique functions, particularly the officers that he has talked of issues of discrimination. I have no doubt that Wanjiku had decided in the 2010 Constitution, but in case they want to amend, we'll take it back to the people, and I have no doubt that this House will give a favorable response, Mr. Speaker, and I thank you.
Member for Endebess.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this petition by Jonah Kashuki on various elective offices, I think it's misplaced, because if he seeks to do a constitutional amendment on Article 102, 148, and 180, he needs to collect 1 million signatures, just like those who are promoting PPI did. Bringing a petition here, for these elective positions, there are people, these are careers, and it is determined by the people. After every 5 years, the constituents will decide. Even for you, Speaker, we are the ones who elect you because we are satisfied with your performance, and therefore we elect you. In elective positions, I think you go and seek the mandate from the people as we are heading into the next general elections. And I think, to me, I think this is a waste of resources, and it's actually a misplaced and committee time to go and look into this. I think the committee should be spared from this kind of petitions, that they have more work to be able to look into that are more productive to this country. Those few remarks, I reject it.
Member for Kimilili.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. While the petitioner has a right to petition this House, we also have a civic duty to be able to advise the petitioner, Honorable Speaker, that this country, we are already struggling with those officers whose term is capped to 2 terms, Honorable Speaker. Most governors who are doing their last term, they have gone rogue, Mr. Speaker. Some have even disappeared from the offices because they will tell you, me, I'm going home. So as much as the petitioner has a right to petition this House, but we are also thinking of in future even removing the term limit so that somebody can run, as long as you have the level playing field for the Kenyans to decide, Honorable Speaker. And Honorable, even this, the section that the petitioner seeks to amend falls within what the court said eternity clauses that can only be amended through a referendum. So I don't think if the committee should waste taxpayers' money going through this petition, it should be dismissed, Honorable Speaker, and the petitioner advised accordingly. I don't support this petition, Honorable Speaker.
Member for Tharaka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This is an interesting petition, but as you've correctly observed, every Kenyan has a right to petition the House so that it can consider whatever matter that comes before it, and especially if it is of great interest. First and foremost, the reason why the terms of the president and the governors were capped was due to the fact that these are CEOs of the republic and of the county. The rest of them, including ourselves, we are just there, hang about and possibly without positions that are clearly defined as far as these offices are concerned. That is why nobody cared to say, limit the terms, let the people limit the terms themselves. However, properly committed to justice and legal affairs, we will consider the petition, we will consider the various sections that apply to confirm whether there are eternity clauses in this, or we can do this through a parliamentary initiative instead of going through a referendum. And they are not protected per se in accordance with the findings of the Court of Appeal and the High Court, that there are some clauses which form part of the grudnom of our Constitution, and they cannot be touched in whichever way. Let's just look at it. Let's spare him the agony of knowing that we don't like it very much. But to be frank and honest, I think it is not quite merited. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Arienda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, whereas everyone has a right to petition this House, I think this House must also now develop ways of dealing with petitions that are unmeritorious. This is one of those which, although you have now committed it to the committee, Mr. Speaker, it would be one for summary dismissal. First of all, Mr. Speaker, it has a factual error insofar as it says that the office of the Deputy President does not have a term limit. That is not true, because under the Constitution, there's a term limit. You can only be a Deputy President for a maximum of 2 terms. Secondly, there are very good historical, legal, and factual reasons why only the office of the President and the Governor were limited, and not these other elective offices. And Mr. Speaker, I think that even if the committee were to sit and return a verdict, their verdict will not be for this House, because it will be for the rest of the Kenyans. Mr. Speaker, I think that the committee will do itself great justice by summarily dismissing this petition. Thank you.
Member for Kapuchai.
Mr. Speaker, I think this is one of the very unpopular petitions, Mr. Speaker. Why I say it's unpopular, Mr. Speaker? How do you want, Mr. Speaker, to cut and curtail the democracy of our people? There are people who elect these officers, Mr. Speaker, and they have a right to elect how many times they want. And I know, Mr. Speaker, where the petitioner is, must be following up this one. Mr. Speaker, he must have known the outcome before he brought it here. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for North Imenti.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. Mr. Speaker, I want to support this petition. Mr. Speaker, in this country, we tend to be thinking that we have got a right to be elected each and every time. And I think, Mr. Speaker, there comes a time that we have to give others space as well. So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that if it is possible, let it be prosecuted, and I will be one of them who will be voting for it. So I support the petition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Nyaribari Church.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I think the petitioner has very good thinking. He thinks that we are having selective judgment on elective officers, because if the president can only serve for 2 terms, why would the other officers be exempted? However, Honorable Speaker, Parliament is a training ground for bigger responsibilities in the Republic of Kenya, and therefore when we have people training here, for lack of a better way to put it, it hones their skills so that they can, whenever they are given big assignment, they will be able to serve Kenyans in a more informative way and in a more better way than they are supporting now. But dismissing the petitioner summarily will be unfair, Honorable Speaker, because I'm sure he has reasons why he raised the petition, and it's only fair to listen to him and hear what he has to say. But I think it's only fair that now that we have many elective offices, we have the governor, we have the Senate, maybe you need to do 2 terms in one office and move to the next one. He's encouraging people not to get into their comfort zone in one area so that they can also think of the other options which are there. Like you, Honorable Speaker, you are going in for presidency, and I think you are going to make a very good president of this republic. And we support it because it's a good ground training you have had in Parliament. You have served as a speaker, a very good speaker for 2 terms, and it's only fair that you move up to the next level. So I think the petitioner has a good reason. We need to listen to him, and we be convinces us, which he has already convinced my brother from Meru. I think I will also be following keenly to see if it's got merit so that I can support it. For the time being, without having the benefit of the information that he had or the thinking behind his petition, I support it.
Member for Kwanza.
Mr. Speaker, in this country we have what they call busybodies, and this is one of the busybodies. I think looking at it is actually from his personal perspective. Maybe he has tried to be whoever, an MCA or member of parliament. He has failed many times. So he wants to return this to, to that, it's a frustration. These are just, doesn't make sense. And I want to ask this House that the committee that which you have referred this particular petition, unless they have nothing to do, they should be dismissed right here, now. This is just a waste of time. I don't think there's any reason. Mr. Speaker, I'm saying, and I want to repeat myself, this particular person is a busybody out there. And he's a frustrated individual, and although he has a right, but he's a frustrated individual, I don't think there's enough time for us to be able to waste time on this particular one. You can put a question, and we'll see what they can do. Thank you so much.
Well, how do I put a question to a petition? Honorable Wanyonyi. Unless you say art, yes. Member for Marquette West.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As majority of the members have said, this particular petitioner is a very busy body outside there who could have tried to contest, and because the sitting member of parliament has become difficult to unseat, then we give an opportunity to say that the members retire and they have an opportunity. Honorable Speaker, the retired President Kibaki was MP from 1960s up to when he was elected as a president. So it means if the time he was becoming a president, there was a term limit, he would not have become the president of Kenya, even the current president. So, Honorable Speaker, this is just a busy body. Performance on elected positions, especially member of National Assembly and Senate, it's based on your performance, not because of the time that you've served. So I think we need to dismiss it immediately.
Member for Soy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think the petitioner has a right, and we need to actually listen to him, because maybe he has issues with his member of parliament, and he has decided to come and attack the member. Actually, the petitioner, we would have loved him to divulge more information. Has he attempted to run for government against the member of parliament and failed? Or was he denied bursary? What services was he denied that he has actually gotten across with his member of parliament? But Mr. Speaker, I think it is also good to note that when we are given a position to serve, we should serve to the best of our ability, and we let the people decide for how long we can serve as members of parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Kajiado Central.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I was actually waiting to contribute on a statement by Honorable Sosio. But let me just add to the voices of my colleagues, Honorable Speaker, on this petition. And let me say, Honorable Speaker, that the petitioner is within his rights. He is within his constitutional right to petition this House, however unpopular that might be. But Honorable Speaker, having this chance, I got something that concerned me. The Honorable Didmas mentioned that it will be important to review term limits. And the Honorable Member is a staunch supporter of the Deputy President. I don't know if that is what they plan to do if by any chance the Deputy President becomes President, by bad luck. So that concerned me. That concerned me, Honorable Speaker, but I look forward to the committee's recommendation on the same. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honourable members, I think it's always advisable to avoid discussing, about issues which are not in the House to defend themselves. Member for Matayos.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also want to say that the petitioner is well within his rights to bring the matter to the House. And if it has been discussed by the House Business Committee, we cannot say that it should just be killed right away. Let members of Parliament in the relevant committee do their duty, and from there we shall get a report. But Mr. Speaker, I find it interesting because I don't know of any jurisdiction in the world where elected leaders like members of Parliament, those representing people, the MCS or councillors or so, have term limits. So even as it goes to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, I will only urge them to make sure that it dies on arrival. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Leader of Majority.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I agree. Everyone has the right to petition, and I want to concur with what Honorable Omolo Tiende did mention. Indeed, it's not just the Deputy President. Even the Deputy Governor is restricted to 2 terms. So factually, the petition is actually founded on the wrong premise that it's only the President, Deputy President. But as it goes to the committee, I would like them to look at whether the petition offends the provisions of Article 38, which give everyone the right to elect a person of their choice. And the capping for the President is actually restricted to their work in the executive, rather than in terms of representation of the people. So, and perhaps agree with my colleagues that I know we open a door for ourselves to receive all manner of petitions, that perhaps we need a petitions law. I'm not sure how that will not contradict the Constitution, or within our review of the standing orders, to get some criteria that can then be popularized in terms of what kind of petitions we will entertain or the thresholds that we need to, so that we don't end up with lots of things. I've seen other petitions, including talking of removing Harambe's and all that, and they make a lot of noise that it's not being entertained. So, but I think the petitioner is within his rights, but we probably need to advise him. He's not likely to go far unless he can, because a constitutional amendment that also affects the Bill of Rights. We know where it's going. And I think it's, the other time, let him be patient. Thank you.
Well, of course, the committee can sit and determine to send it to, return it to sender, because it's not, as per the Standing Order 227, the committee doesn't even have to bring any report here. Just write back to the petitioner, advising him on what they have found. Next order.
Order number 5, papers.
Leader majority.
Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the House today, Tuesday, the 5th of October, 2021, afternoon sitting. The number one is legal notice number 184 of 2021 relating to the breast milk substitutes regulation and control, general regulations 2021, and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Health. Number two, legal notice number 194 of 2021 relating to the Kenya Defence Forces, pensions and gratuities, officers and service members, regulations 2020, and the explanatory memorandum from the Ministry of Defence. Number three is the report to Parliament on all new loans contracted by government from 1st of April 2021 to 31st of August 2021 from the National Treasury and Planning. Number four is the annual report for 2020-2021 financial year from the Kenya Law Reform Commission. Number five, the report of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect of the Central Bank of Kenya for the year ended 30th of June 2021 and the certificate therein. Number six is the report of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect of the Wiper Democratic Movement for the year ended 30th of June 2020 and the certificate therein. And number seven, reports of the Auditor General and financial statements in respect to the following constituencies for the year ended 30th of June 2019 and the certificates therein: Bomachoge Borabu, Homa Bay Town, Kabodo Kasipul, Nyaribari Chache, West Mugirango, Lungalunga, Wundanyi, Malindi, Kikuyu, Kangema, Madera, Githongori, Karachuonyo, Laikipia East, Kuria West, and Roiro. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Well, the chairperson, Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Tuesday, October 5th, 2021. Report of the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security on its consideration of the President's Memorandum on the Refugee Bill, National Assembly Bill number 62 of 2019. I thank you.
Chairperson, Committee on Lands.